Hi there, I'm Clifford Bates, and welcome to Reading Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. Today we're continuing in Book 6, Chapter 2, The Intellectual Virtues. We're continuing where he left off, but he divided the soul into the rational part of the soul, or the soul that deals with reasoning, two parts. That is, he says, the one that deals with the things that change, and the things that don't change, things that always remain so, and those that vary, or those who what he says, what is the line exactly? Those that um, admit being otherwise. So those who don't admit being otherwise, you don't deliberate about them. Calculative. No, one is calculative and one is scientific. Scientific deals with the things that don't change, things that always are, and the things that they're not. This is that aspect of here. Now let's go to what's going on here. Chapter 2. There are three things in the soul that are authoritative over action, praxis, and truth. So, action and truth. Sense perception, intellect, and longing. Okay. So, intellect here is nous, if you remember correctly, and longing is desire, or excess. Or excess. And that's it. Not desire, not longing, or it's something moving towards that. So therefore, there are three things that are authoritative: sense perception over action and truth, alethe, right? Sense perception, intellect, nous, and longing. Okay, I kind of broke for a second here because I I was not sure of the translation here, so I had to go check the translation, and it was a problem because I was looking for the passage in the word. It wasn't true. So I think he's right. Perception, intellect, and longing. So therefore, this is the ruling. These are the things that are ruling over action and truth. That is sense perception, Zeus, nous, and or exit. Right. That this is the things that are connected here in that sense. But of these, sense perception is not the origin, or arche 7 is the beginning point. Arche is not the beginning, originating source of principle. Arche, the origin. The arche is not the arche of any action. So sense perception of itself is not the point of any action, praxis in that sense, right? And it is clear from the fact that beasts have sense perception, but they do not share in action, praxis. Now, this is the problem. Praxis, i.e., the more relevant action, that is the basis of justified praise and blame. So, this word praxis has multiple meanings. Praxis, in this sense, implies action. There is a aspect of choice here, right? Something that's a moral, relevant action. But also, praxis is the level of otherwise too. So remember that when you talk about the world of the things that never change and the things that do change, praxis will be with the things that are that can be otherwise. Whereas the theoria, which is contemplation in that sense, will be that way, that don't change. So therefore, here we have to say that sense perception is not the origins of any action. In that sense, the sense perception is not the starting point or the arche of any action. And this is clear from the fact that beasts have sense perception, but they do not share in action. Now, this is a problem. What is meant by here? The question, beasts, do we mean by action activity? No, we mean something of choice. There's this sense of moral action. The argument goes here, right? This idea of intentional action. Intentional action, we could say. But that's beasts do not share an action. I don't understand. This is the problem. This is where you can get in trouble if you I think he means something more. To understand what he means here, I think we have to understand action in a very limited sense. And I think this is why they say praxis. Um, I want to go over here, look at the classic. This is the Oxford grouping, guys. This is with Christopher Rall and Brody, right? Christopher Rall did the translation. So let's go look at what Rall says at this passage in this sense, right? And he goes, perception is not the originator, sense perception is not the originator of any action. And this is clear from the fact that brute animals have perception, but do not share in action, right? So this is what that clarity in that sense. So let's continue. What affirmation and denial are in the case of thinking. So affirming and denying is in the case of thinking, dioneia, right? Thinking is pursuit and avoidance are in the case of longing for something, right? So therefore, the question of longing for something. So therefore, when we think about something, we affirm or deny. But when we long for something, we either pursue or avoid, right? We don't want. We want or we don't want. As a result, since ethical virtue, the virtues of ethicae, right? Ethical virtue, moral virtue, is a characteristic marked by choice, and choice is longing marked by deliberation, right? Then, on account of these considerations, reasoning involved must be true and the longing correct. In other words, proper or orexit. In other words, regarding ethical virtues, and it's a choice marked by choice. That choice is marked by a deliberation, a calculation, right? And that calculation is on account of these considerations. The reasoning, the reckoning, the reasoning involved must be true, and the longing. It's a combination of a longing. It's a longing for something. Must be correct. Again, this is interesting. Orexis versus true and correct. This is, and if in fact the choice is serious, budios, a serious one, what the reasoning asserts must be the same as what the longing pursues. So therefore, if the reasoning is correct, in other words, the choice is a serious. In other words, moral deliberation is a characteristic marked by choice, and choice is marked by deliberation. And on account of this, the kind of deliberations is a reasoning that must be true, and the longing must be correct. Because if the choice is serious, budios, then the reasoning, what the reasoning asserts, must be the same as what the longing pursues. There must be agreement between the longing and the reasoning. Okay. This then is the thinking, the dioneia, right, and the truth concerned with action, or concerned with action. And now he has the footnote there, and that is literally of practical thinking and the practical truth, right? Um, uh, 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 Concerned with the practical thinking of the practical truth, right? That's that weird line. They're concerned with thinking and with practical thinking. The translation is practical thinking or thinking, and then it is concerned with practical thinking and the practical truth. That's the other way. You can or. That's the or. So, or what we have here is then this is the thinking and the truth concerned with action, practice, practice. praxis. But in contemplating thinking, this is theoria. Practical thinking, contemplate theoria, but in theoria, on the other hand, and not that characterized by action or making, poesis, praxis or poesis. Thinking well or badly consists in true and false, respectively. For this is the work of the thinking part as a whole. In other words, the thinking itself is always about truth, the correct or not correct, true or false, true or false. Okay, so therefore, the theoretical is simply just knowing what is true and what is false, simply. In that way, the contemplation is about the things that are simply are. That there's no things that don't change, right? And that therefore, is it so or is it not? Is it true or is it false? On the one hand, and characterized by and not that is characterized by action or poesis or making, right? Whereas practical thinking is well done when truth is in agreement with the correct longing. So therefore, truth, what is valid, true or false? What is valid? Truth is what is valid, what is true and what is false, right? What is true and what is false, respectively, right? With is the rational, what is true, false regarding the rational, is in agreement with the longing, the correct longing, right? With truth is in agreement with the correct longing. Of action, then choice is the origin. Choice is the origin of action in that sense, not the senses, not perception. Perception is as we go to it, right? Perception is authoritative. One of the things that are sense perception is perception. Intellect and longing are the things that are connected, that are authoritative over action. But the origin, the arche, the starting point is choice, he says here. Choice is the origin, the starting point, the arche. And from which the motion arises. So the choice in that sense is the motion arises. But not that for the sake of which one moves. So a choice is the origin that from which the motion arises, but not that for the sake of which one moves. And of choice, the origin is one's longing and the reasoning that indicates what and the reasoning that indicates what it is for the sake of which one acts. So therefore, so in other words, the choice and of choice, the origin is in the longing, the thing that longs, and the reasoning that indicates for what it is for the sake of which one acts, or why is one acting. What is it? So that the desire wants something, but this is for the sake of, and they're kind of the, and a correct action must be, there must be an agreement between the longing and the reasoning, right? Hence, there cannot be choice, either in the absence of intellect and thinking, um, in the absence of the intellect, nous and dianeia, uh, 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 thinking, or in the absence of a ethical characteristic, a moral characteristic. In other words, choices, therefore, there's a characteristic here, an ethical characteristic. For there cannot be acting well or its contrary in action, so acting well and acting badly, in the absence of thinking in character, ethique. So character is ethique, in character. So therefore, the question, the moral characteristics, the ethical characteristic, um, there cannot be an absence, thinking or the absence of this. In other words, it cannot be that characteristic and the character, the question of its character, right? Therefore, for there cannot be acting well or its contrary in the absence of thinking and character, right? Now, thinking itself moves nothing. In other words, thinking, dionea, this idea of the mind, of intellection, not news, okay, but thinking itself moves nothing. But thinking, that is for the sake of something, and concerned with action does. So again, there's this, it is therefore it's the sake of something. It's done for the sake of something. The thinking is done for the sake of something, it's concerned with action. For it serves as the arche, starting point, the origin here, or perhaps even rules over. The verb archon is related to the noun arche and shares in its ambiguity, right? And rules over. Okay, this is why it is serves as the starting point, or serves as the ruling point, the starting point, or the ruler, also of the art concerning with making something. It serves as the starting point also of the art concerning making something. It is for this, again, poesis, making something's poesis, right? For the sake, it is for the sake of something that every maker makes what he does. And the thing made is not an end simply. In other words, it's done for some reason. It's done for some. The thing made is not an end in itself. The thing made is made for something. Okay, in that sense, why it echoes the action, right? Why it is not the end simply. Rather, it is the end only relative to something and of a given purpose. But the action performed is an end simply. So the action itself is an end simply. The making is for something. It is for some action, for some person, or for some action, right? To do something. But the action itself can be an end in itself, right? Cannot. But the action performed is an end simply. For acting well, faring well. This is acting well, faring. The abstract noun here is eupraxia, right? Eupraxia. As related to the word translated as action, right, throughout praxis. But to phrase to act well can also mean the idiom to fare well, right? Uh, uh, and it is the great question of the ethics, doing well and faring well, to act well and to fare well, right? That's that double-sided of here. So therefore, for eupraxia, doing and faring well, is the end. And one's longing is for this end, both living well and faring well, right? Acting well and faring well. Hence, choice is either intellect marked by a certain longing, or longing marked by a thinking. Dionetheke. Dionetheke, right? So, therefore, choice is either an intellect, nous, marked by a certain longing, or longing Maya Dioetheke. And a starting point of this, a starting point of this is a human being. The human being is the starting point in that sense. A man, an actor, a human being. A man, an anthropos. An anthropos is this. The anthropos is a human being, is the starting point of this sort. And a starting point of this sort, this thing that makes choice, that is therefore marked by either a intellect marked by a certain longing, or longing marked by a dionetheke, right? A kind of thinking, right? But nothing that has already come into being is an object of choice. So therefore, things that are, in other words, this is interesting, but nothing that has already come into being is an object of choice. In other words, for example, nobody now chooses to have sacked Troy in the past, and nobody deliberates either about what has already come into being, but rather what will be and admits of happening. what has already come into being does not admit of having coming into being. In other words, does not admit of not having come into being. So therefore, things that past events are. In other words, something that's happened. You don't deliberate about the past or things that have happened. Deliberation is a thing about what could happen, what is possible. It can be or not be, to be or not to be, right? But something that has happened, something that has occurred. You don't deliberate about sacking Troy, he says, right? You don't choose about sacking Troy. Choice is a choice is something that is to happen, something that could happen, or has not yet happened, or it is to come into being. Something that is, you don't choose it. Once it's happened, it doesn't. You don't. You. It's no longer a choice. It's there. It's there. You've chosen it. It's a past. It has happened. Something that you have chosen. You have. It is the object of the choice, right? It is the thing that product of the choice. We does so. Therefore, in other words, nobody deliberates either about what has already come into being, but rather about what will be in the midst of happening. What has already come into being does not admit of not have coming into being. Hence, Agathon has it correctly. Agathon here, the celebrated poet who appears in a symposium. He says, "What? As for this alone, even a god is deprived to make undone whatever things have been done." In other words, literally to make ungenerated. Agathia, in other words, cannot make undone or ungenerate. The same word Aristotle just used below, uses just below. The word is agenetia. Agenetia. So make undone what has been done, right? Not even a god can do that. So this is very interesting. Now, the Christian God seems to be can do whatever he wants. He can make and unmake. He's above logic in this. The Christian Judaic God is the God of philosophy is limited by the laws of nature in a sense, right? For this alone, even a God is deprived. But it cannot admit that. In other words, you can't admit this to make undone what has been done. So you can't deliberate. It's no longer a choice. What has been done has been done, and you can't undo it in that fundamental sense. To make undone, literally, the word here is opposite alpha privative, making. This is unmaking, right? Ungenerated. To ungenerate what has been done. So he ends our chapter here with so of both the intellectual parts of the soul, the two parts of the soul, the intellectual parts of the soul, the ones that deal with the eternal, things that are, and things that are and remain, are not, things that are not, things that unchanging, and the things that come into being and pass away, or things that can be otherwise. Things that are not, and don't change, the unchanging in that sense, and those that admit being otherwise, can be otherwise, can be what they that he says the work or task, right, is truth. So therefore, the task, the work is truth. What is truth? The discerning what is true and false, right? The truth. Concerning the characteristics, then, by which each part will, to its greater degree, attain truth, are the virtues of these two parts, respectively. So, in other words, so therefore, the work or task of each part is truth, and therefore the virtue, the characteristic then of each part will be to the greatest degree attained. Or how does it? In other words, which by which each part will, to the greatest degree, attain the truth, that is the virtues of the two parts respectively. So therefore, in other words, of these two parts, the part that which the task is truth, right? So the virtue of each part, what is the virtues of each part, will be that which discerns the truth, respectively, for each part. Discerning the truth about the things that are, things that don't change, right? Things that are and are not, the things, the eternal things, or discerning the truth about those that can be otherwise. Okay, so those are the two aspects of here. So let's stop here. If you have any comments or questions, please put them below, and I'll respond to them or help address them when I see them. If you've liked it, please hit like the like button. Please, it helps the algorithm. It helps grows the channel in that sense. It gets more attention to things. If you know a friend, if you like what you've done here, share it on social media. Share it to your friends. If you have not subscribed yourself, please consider subscribing. Again, help it. More people subscribe, the channel gets better attention, and improves the algorithm on the YouTube algorithm. However they decide to do it, this is how it works. The other thing is that you can do this is by encourage people that who are interested in these kind of topics or these subjects or might be interested in this, come see this channel and also subscribe. If you didn't like it, you can always say no. You can always thumbs down it, but you should please say why, so people can benefit from. In other words, we can learn something. That's the purpose of what I'm trying to do here. If you want to follow me on social media, the social media links below. If you want to know about me or get further knowledge about me as an academic and my research, my scholarship, to see my scholarship and things like this, you can go to the links below there. Next thing you can do is if you want to contribute and help me, what I do financially in a sense, to help me out here and to do these things financially, please consider you can do so through Patreon or Subscribestar. Or another way you can help is to buy one of my books through the links of the books through either your local bookstore, if you want to support your local bookstores, or through a online distributor, online bookstore like Barnes & Noble or Amazon or other type of online book service. Well, that's it. That's it for today. We'll turn next time to chapter 3, which will continue this. So we'll stop here for today and take care and have a great day. Bye bye.